Jason from Blog Norfolk, and I'm back for season 2 of Cooking with Local. Thanks for joining me. You all were so excited to have the videos back, so here we are. So today, I've got a delicious recipe for you. I'm gonna make a Norfolk mac and cheese. Not that stuff from the box that you might be used to, but this is gonna have a lot of flavor, maybe some things that you're not used to in your mac and cheese, but let me tell you, if you make it this way, it is going to be delicious every time. So, let's get cooking. All right, so first things first, I'm the realist. We're gonna take 1 bag of pasta. I like to choose something that has more ridges and spaces to fill with the cheese, because you really want to get your maximum amount of cheese in every bite. So I've got some cavatappi right here. It's kind of like a large macaroni. It's twisty, it's got ridges. The cheese is gonna go inside and coat on the outside. It's gonna be delish. So we're gonna take a bag of this and put it into boiling water. So while we're doing that, we're gonna make a delicious cheese sauce. To get our cheese sauce started, we're gonna make a roux. So in order to make a roux, you want equal parts of flour to butter. So I'm gonna take 1/4 cup of butter, which if you look on your butter, it tells you where to cut. It's a little trick. 1/4 cup, I'm gonna slice it right here. Okay, I'm just gonna take that and put that in a hot saucepan, about medium heat. And we're gonna get that butter melting to start. Once the butter melts, we're gonna add equal amounts of flour. So we're gonna add 1/4 cup of flour. And we're gonna let that cook down a bit till you smell that the flour kind of has a nutty scent to it, right? And you're gonna see it also get a little more brown. You don't want it to get too brown because then it's burning, right? Once that happens, then we're gonna add 1 cup of milk. I'm using oat milk today. Something a little healthier, since we got all this cheese. We are gonna add more milk later, just to kind of bring it up. But we're just gonna start with 1 cup, just to get it thickened, and then we're gonna keep adding more, and then we're gonna add our cheese into it just to give it some final thickening. And today we are using cheese from a couple different places. I asked a special guest to tell me what cheeses I need to use for this mac and cheese, so I'm gonna welcome you to my good friend, Miss Jenny, from the cheese shop in Dover. Jenny, come on over here. Come on over here. Now we're using some cheeses from Jenny's shop today. Hello, Jenny.
Hi, everyone.
Now Jenny told me I had to use cheese curds.
Absolutely.
Why is that, Jenny?
Cheese curds, they give you that nice little stringy, extra little pop of cheese in there.
Yeah, and you know we're gonna use Jensen's cheese curds because that's local, made in Simcoe, one of our favorites.
They're the best melters too.
Yes, 100%. Then we've got some Kryptonite cheese from the Little Brown Cow just outside of Brantford. We've got my favorite cheese from your shop, Black Pepper Bellavitano. So good. Has a nice little bite to it. Then we've got...
What kind of cheese is that?
The Bellavitano?
Yeah.
It's an Asiago.
It's a Parma-Asiago blend?
Blend, yeah.
Well done.
Nice, thanks.
Good job.
And then this one, you have to remind me.
Which one is in there?
It was the first one I grated.
You had, Montana Intenso?
Yes.
Which is an aged Gouda.
Oh, nice. So a little aged Gouda. We hear some sizzling in the back.
Yep.
We're like, okay, what's going on here?
What's going on back there?
So
It's a Dutch
we've
cheese.
got all of those. And the reason we're using so many different cheeses is because you want different textures and flavors in there. And that's really going to hit up your macaroni and cheese. Just going to the store and grabbing a brick of cheese and shredding it all up and throwing it into your mac and cheese isn't going to taste the same.
No.
This is going to be creamy, delicious, all kinds of different textures and flavors. You're going to love this, right? This is the special kind of dish you make when the good company's coming over.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. So let's keep making this roux here.
Got your blue in there.
Oh, and you're right.
We missed the secret ingredient.
Okay, there's a secret ingredient. We also added in some blue cheese into this as well, just to give it that kind of like earthiness and that punch and that creaminess too. So even if you're afraid of blue cheese, this is a good way to try it.
It is.
And add it in because you're getting into those familiar kind of dishes, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So let's continue with our roux here. Our butter's melted. So you're gonna want the roux to cook down for about a minute. Let that flour cook, really kind of intensify the flavors. This gives you a good time to stir your pasta, get that going. The pasta's almost done. So we're almost ready to put it together. You can see it's puffing up. It's gonna be nice and al dente, and we are gonna bake this in the oven for 20 minutes. So it's good to make it just al dente, just undercooked slightly, because we are gonna finish it up in that cheese sauce, okay? So now that the roux is thickened for about a minute here, you can see the color has changed. You can see it's gotten thick. We're gonna add in our milk and just give it a stir. And you wanna be kind of vigorous with your stirring. You want that all to kind of mix together. And then we're gonna let that just thicken up a bit. Once that roux is thickened up and you've added your milk, you're gonna add 3 more cups of milk. I know it seems a lot, but a whole bag of pasta does make a lot of mac and cheese. So we're gonna let that thicken up for just about 3 more minutes, and then we're gonna take it off the stove and add our cheese in. You don't wanna add the cheese in with direct heat still going underneath of it, because it can burn the cheese. You want it to melt and kind of get in there so that it doesn't actually overcook, and the cheese is still gonna melt down in the oven, so we don't have to worry about that. The sauce can still be kind of lumpy, some of the cheese can still be kind of unmelted, and it'll still finish cooking in the oven. So it's kind of like that. It's the recipe that's really easy because you don't have to be perfect. So you're gonna make sure you drain it really well. Then we're gonna take this and put it in our serving dish, because we're gonna mix everything in this one dish here. And as you can see, that makes a lot, fills the dish. And then once our cheese sauce is ready, we're gonna pour it on top and mix it in, which is gonna be right about now. So this is thickened up a bit. I'm gonna take this off the heat. I'm gonna take this off the heat here. We're gonna add in our cheese, all of it all at once. We're gonna give that a stir, and then we're gonna add our curds in. So the heat in the pot is still just gonna let this melt down and get nice and creamy, because the liquid's nice and hot, so it's all gonna melt down. Then we're gonna add our curds and give it another stir and just let it sit for a little bit. Let it all melt. And once it's all melted down and incorporated in, we are going to pour it over our pasta. While the cheese is melting, this is the perfect time to add in our seasoning. We're gonna use some mustard powder, about a tablespoon. The same amount of paprika, give it that kind of nice peppery kick. We're gonna add about half a tablespoon, or I would say, let's say a teaspoon of black pepper. Depends on how spicy you want it. And then the same amount of salt. There is gonna be a fair amount of salt in the cheeses and in this next ingredient we're adding in, which is pre-cooked crumbled bacon. Who doesn't love bacon? You can get it locally from all kinds of butcher shops like Hank DeConning's, Townsend's Butchers, VG Butchers. You're gonna love it, right? So it's always gonna be good quality bacon. Any one of them are a good choice, and we're gonna put this into the sauce as well, just to add some flavor and some salt. We're gonna stir that up, and I think she's gonna be ready. It's got a crazy color. Trust me, it's gonna look good. Then we're gonna take our mac and cheese and we're gonna put it in the oven for 15 minutes at 350. I got a special topper for our mac and cheese today. Most people use breadcrumbs, but this is Cooking with Local. So I purchased some delicious Pickard's Extreme Pickle Pucker Kettle Chips. And this is actually the best part. While you're waiting for your mac and cheese to cook, if you've had a long, stressful day, you're just gonna take this bag of chips and you're just gonna take all that work, frustration out on the chippies. I feel great now, no stress. This is way cheaper than a massage, but still support local massages, of course. We're gonna crunch it down, and 5 minutes before we serve this, or 5 minutes in the oven, is when we're gonna put these chips on, just to warm them up a bit and crisp them up a little bit more. And they're gonna be so good as your macaroni topping, let me tell you. Who doesn't love pickles, cheese, and bacon? It's gonna be delicious. We are ready to eat this. I got Jenny with me. I got my friend Lisa with me. We got our pickles here. Lisa loves pickles.
Yeah, she does.
The smell of these chips, once you put them in the oven, it's so intense. And you see that melty cheese is in there.
That big cheese curd.
Oh yeah.
And the bacon.
Yeah.
Get a little more sauce on here. Norfolk mac and cheese. Look at the cheese pull here.
The bacon too.
That is delicious. Delicious.
Perfect. Thanks so much, guys. This is me, Jason, Cooking with Local. So glad to be back with my good friend Jenny, my good friend Lisa. We will see you for the next episode.